There's a version of you that the world gets, and then there's the version of you that only you have to live with. One role is the one who says I'm fine on autopilot, the one who laughs at jokes that don't really land, the one who keeps the peace when something in your chest is yelling, this isn't it. The other one is the real one, the one that feels the twist in your gut when you say yes when you meant to say no, the one who gets quiet after you're done people pleasing because you just traded your truth for approval, the one who lies awake and thinks, there's gotta be more to this, bro. Most of us were never taught to live as the second one. So we let fear hire the role to do the job. Fear says, don't rock the boat or you'll lose them. Don't speak up or they'll label you crazy. Don't change or you'll end up alone. And you let that run long enough and the fear stops being a feeling. It starts to become personality. So check in with yourself. No drama, no judgment. Have you been living more as the role fear wrote for you or as the person truth keeps trying to introduce to you? Nobody else needs that answer, but your future is being built upon it. So tonight isn't about dragging the role, the costume that got you through the rooms your real self wasn't safe in, but it is about starting to notice where fear is still directing your life. And what happens when truth starts to actually take hold. We're going to get into how fear quietly edits your entire character arc smaller, what truth really feels like on the inside when you finally let it out, and how you can let one more of the real you seep into spaces you only use to survive. If you're even a little bit ready to stop letting fear be your casting director, you can just drop truth mode on in the comments so you have a receipt for the moment that you picked the person over the role. Now here it is, how fear rewrites who you think you are. Fear rarely walks in screaming. It shows up dressed as common sense, keeping it together, or that's my personality. I don't need anyone often started as I needed someone and they weren't there. I'm just not emotional often started as my emotions were too loud for the room that I grew up in. I'm the strong one. That often starts as I didn't have permission to fall apart. Those sentences get repeated enough times and they turn into identity labels. I'm the chill friend. I'm the fixer. I'm the one who can handle anything. But zoom way out and you see what's really happening. Fear is trying to keep you safe by shrinking the surface area of your life. If you never need anything, you can't be disappointed. If you never say how you really think, you can't be rejected for it. If you always carry the weight, no one can drop you. And it works for a while. You get less obvious pain, but you also get less aliveness. The spiritual move here is not to tear off the label and hate yourself for wearing it. It's to ask yourself gently, who would I be if fear wasn't in charge of my job description? Not who would I be with no fear ever. That's not human, bro. Just who would I be if fear was a consultant, not a CEO? That question alone literally starts to crack the role that all of us fall into. Now here's how truth actually shows up inside of you. We romanticize speaking your truth. It's going to feel like a soft focused movie scene. And in real life, it's messier. Think about a moment where you said something real you normally would have swallowed. I don't agree with that. I'm actually not okay. I want something different. That crossed the line for me. It probably didn't feel graceful. It might have come out choppy. Your voice might have wobbled, or you over-explained, or you texted instead of saying it to their face. But underneath that awkward delivery, something important was happening. For a split second, your inner world and your outer world matched. That alignment is spiritual, whether you use that word or not. Truth doesn't always feel calm. Sometimes it feels like putting weight on a leg you've been favoring for years. It's shaky. It's unfamiliar. It demands new muscles. But watch what happens in the hours after a truthful moment versus a fake one. After you go along with something that isn't, you replay it on loop and feel disconnected from yourself. After you tell one small truth, the replay is uncomfortable, but there is a tiny sense of self-respect woven into the discomfort. That self-respect is your soul recognizing itself. You don't need to blow up your life with some huge confession. Sometimes truth just looks like, hey, I actually changed my mind. I said yes way too fast. I actually need to think about that. I realized I didn't mean what I said earlier. I'm sorry. Those are not small sentences. Those are tiny exits out of the role and tiny entrances back to yourself, bro. Now, letting the real you seep back into your life is something that I'm sure everyone that goes through a spiritual journey has to figure out. You don't have to rip the mask off in one go. You can loosen it. Think of your day like a script. How many of your lines are obligations and how many of your lines are choices? Here's a simple experiment. Pick one area in your life, work, friendships, families, creative stuff, whatever feels alive right now for you, and ask yourself 3 questions. Where do I feel the most fake? What would I say if I wasn't afraid of anyone's reaction? What is the smallest, least risky version of that truth that I can practice today? It might be as small as admitting that you're tired instead of just powering through it, or telling a friend that you miss them instead of just playing it cool, or choosing not to laugh at something that actually made you wince. Every time you do that, you're moving 1 degree closer to living as the person and 1 degree away from living as the role. This is slow magic. It's you reteaching your nervous system, I'm allowed to exist in this room, not just perform in it. And I know some part of you is hearing this because you're still here right now. So if this is tugging on something old and honest in you, you can also just drop "I'm still here" in the comments. Not for me, but for you. So you can't pretend later that you didn't feel whatever you might be feeling right now. Now, why this hits for every human. This isn't some niche, bro. This is the human condition in a world that profits from you staying on a script. We build whole relationships off of the role and then wonder why we feel unknown. We build careers from a survival identity and then call it imposter syndrome when the real us shows up and we don't relate. We build online personas and then feel like strangers in our own comment sections. If you feel like your life looks fine but doesn't feel like it belongs to you, bro, you're not broken. You're just underrepresenting your own story. And that's my friends and family where Team Human Energy lives. It's not about being against this or being against that or figuring out this conspiracy or figuring out which satanic pedophilic cabal is running the world. It's about being here, present, as an actual human, not inside of a headset or inside of some doom scroll or inside some of persona, but like an actual human. And if you're any type of the person who even cares about this, who hears this and immediately felt like you needed to listen, that tells me that you're already on this frequency, bro. You're not here just to be entertaining, productive, and aesthetically pleasing. You're here to be someone, not just something. So if this resonated, if it felt like I was describing conversations you've only had in your own head, here's what I'd love for you to do with that. First, let's make it practical, bro. Pick one tiny thing and then decide it matters. Tonight, I will write 1 page of what I actually feel with no filters. Tomorrow, I will tell one person one small truth that I would usually hide. This week, I will catch myself when I'm acting the role and just notice it without beating myself up about it. That alone starts to shift your identity from fear written to truth written. Second, if you want to keep getting pulled back to this version of yourself, the one under the role, just stick around. You can hit follow, hit subscribe, whatever the platform calls it. So this isn't just one random clip that hits you once and then disappears into the algorithm. And if you're watching this on Instagram specifically, when videos run longer than 3 minutes, the app pretty much stops handing them out to people who don't already follow me. So this is exactly what I need you to do if you're on Instagram. Just hit repost, bro. If this actually did something to you, I want you to know I love you. Thank you for even being here. I appreciate you.